All right, let's talk about something you've probably seen your entire life, but never really truly thought about. We're going to crack open the surprising story behind the humble piggy bank. And trust me, it's a wild ride through history, language, and even a little bit of psychology.
Seriously, think about it. It's so common, so universal, we just accept it. But why a pig? Of all the animals on the entire planet, how did we land on a pig as the perfect vessel to stash our spare change? It's kind of weird when you stop and think about it.
And that right there is the central puzzle, isn't it? An animal that's literally a symbol of feasting, of gluttony, of abundance, somehow became the global icon for the exact opposite, for thrift and financial discipline. It just doesn't add up. But believe it or not, there's a fascinating reason why.
I mean, from a kid's first birthday present to the mascot for a giant bank, the piggy bank is everywhere. It's our first lesson in saving money. But the incredible truth is that its journey to becoming this huge financial icon was, well, a complete accident.
That's right. The most common explanation for why our coin banks are shaped like little pigs all comes down to a simple misunderstanding that happened centuries ago. It's a historical fluke that somehow created a worldwide tradition. So, to untangle this case of mistaken identity, we've got to jump in our time machine and head way, way back, all the way to medieval England, a time when everyday things were made very, very differently than they are today.
See, back then, before you could get cheap metal for everything, people used affordable pottery for all sorts of household stuff. And one very common type of orangish clay was known as pig. So naturally, the jars and pots they made out of it were called pig pots. And people used these for everything, including as a place to drop their extra coins.
Now here's where it gets interesting. You know how language is always changing, always evolving? Well, as the English language shifted over hundreds of years, the way people pronounced pig for the clay slowly morphed until it sounded exactly the same as pig, the animal. You couldn't tell the difference just by listening.
And you can see exactly where this is going, right? By the time we get to the 19th century, people would go to a potter and ask for a pig bank to save their coins in. But the potters heard pig bank. So, being clever and probably having a bit of fun, they started making them in the literal shape of a pig. And just like that, a global icon was born from a simple pun.
But wait a minute. That explains the shape, sure, but it doesn't really explain why it became so incredibly popular that it's lasted for hundreds of years and spread all over the globe. An accident is one thing, but for an idea to have that kind of staying power, there has to be something more going on.
And there was. It turns out that this accidental pig shape tapped into some really deep, powerful ideas about wealth and prosperity that people already had. It was the perfect symbolic fit. I mean, just think about it from the perspective of a farmer hundreds of years ago. Owning a pig was a huge deal. It was a walking, breathing savings account. It was a sign of wealth. It meant your family wouldn't starve. And better yet, a pig is a great investment. You deposit a little bit of food into it every day, and it grows into something much more valuable. That's a perfect metaphor for saving. So the pig was already this powerful symbol of good fortune and abundance.
The design itself was also kind of genius at teaching a financial lesson. You have that one little slot, so it's super easy to put money in. But with no hole to get it out, it was really hard to dip into your savings. The only way to get the money was to smash the bank, this big final act that celebrated reaching your goal. It was an amazing little tool for teaching delayed gratification.
Okay, so just when you think the case is closed, it was an English pun that stuck for symbolic reasons, the story takes another incredible twist. Turns out, while all this was happening in Europe, a very similar tradition was already booming on the other side of the world.
Yep, we're now heading over to Southeast Asia, where we find evidence that this idea was so good, it actually popped up completely independently and even earlier. This is honestly mind-blowing. Check out this timeline. All the way back in the 14th century. We're talking hundreds of years before the English potters, people in Java, Indonesia, were making these terracotta boar-shaped banks. It's this incredible example of convergent evolution. Two cultures, with no contact, independently came up with the exact same great idea. So you have these two separate origin stories, one in Europe, one in Asia. What was the spark that took the piggy bank from being a folk craft to a global superstar? You guessed it. The Industrial Revolution. All of a sudden, factories could pump them out cheaply, making them available to everyone and turning them into the perfect marketing icon for actual banks. Which brings us all the way to today. We live in a world of digital transfers, cryptocurrency, and tapping our phones to pay. Physical coins are getting rarer. So how on earth does a simple ceramic pig stay so relevant?
Well, it's evolved. The piggy bank has shapeshifted. Sure, it's still a classic kid's toy, but its image is now a powerful digital metaphor. It's an emoji. It's the little icon you tap in your banking app to transfer money into your savings. It's successfully made the jump from being a physical thing to being a universally understood symbol for saving money online.
So when you put it all together, the piggy bank is really the product of a perfect storm. A simple linguistic mistake gave it its shape, but deep, powerful cultural symbolism gave that shape meaning. And that combination is what created an icon with true, lasting power.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Today, for most of us, money is just abstract numbers on a screen. The fact that we still use the image of a friendly little pig to represent the idea of saving, well, it suggests that we humans still need these simple physical metaphors to help us understand big abstract ideas. It's a great reminder that even in our super high-tech world, sometimes the most powerful concepts come in the simplest packages.